Hello everyone, this is Adric, and today I want to share with you guys another post-concert review. This is a review of the recent Manila Symphony Orchestra Dancing with Tchaikovsky concert. So, how did I feel about this concert? Okay, well, first of all, this video is not gonna be that long because in the last review, there weren't we weren't allowed to take any videos actually. Unlike the cathedral concert I attended, we were allowed to take videos and photos. In the Aliw Theater, in the concert or in the Aliw Theater, generally it's strictly prohibited, I think. But let's discuss about what I thought about the concert. First of all, is the theater itself. The theater is absolutely amazing. The acoustics were very nice. Even if you're at the very back row, yeah, you get to experience a very good quality of the sound. Like, that's a big impact throughout the whole concert, in my opinion. We got the best seats, even though we were really at the back. And second of all, I would like to acknowledge how talented the musicians are. Of course, the Manila Symphony Orchestra. They're like literally they're like the oldest orchestra like in the Philippines, and I don't know if they're also the oldest in Asia, but I'm gonna say that one as well. But yeah, they've gone so far away, and now I am actually privileged that I get to have an experience to, let's say, this was my first ever exposure to orchestral concerts. I remember that the Manila Symphony Orchestra held their concert in my own province. Back then, they decided to make a concert at the San Agustin Church in Pawai, but I wasn't there. It was due to school reasons. But then right now, thanks to the encouragement of our professor, who is the principal cellist of the Manila Symphony Orchestra, he encouraged us to get into that concert because it was actually a way for us to be exposed more to classical music. I mean, I am exposed to classical music myself. Then there's my other fellow music student. I mean, there's my also fellow music classmates who are more into pop music but are in the music conservatory that I'm studying right now. But it's a very, very good experience. I would love to listen to them very, very often. So that's all the acknowledgements. Let's get to how they sounded like during the pieces they played. All right, part 1. I didn't actually know what they played first in part 1, to be honest, like the very first piece, because I think the only pieces I know of Tchaikovsky are, I mean, I am a big fan of him, but this first piece was very obscure. I did not know Tchaikovsky wrote it, and then they just happened to play it in every concert. But it was fitting because I searched up the piece, and it turns out that the first piece that they played was the Coronation March. This was a dedicated piece to the coronation of Tsar Alexander III. And I gotta say, it was a good introduction because it says Coronation March, or Coronation March, or I think Imperial March. I don't know what it's called in Tchaikovsky's language, but Coronation March was a very, very spectacular choice to open the concert with a really, really, let's say, a good entrance. And yeah, that's basically it. I mean, I have no other words to say about how it was delivered very, very well, because I myself am not familiar with the Coronation March, but it's a really, really good way. It's a good structure. It's a good foundation for the entire concert. All right, the next piece. Okay, I had to pause it because the program isn't with me. Apparently, it was a funny story because I was placing my mental bets on what they were gonna play during the concert, and one of them was apparently the Rococo variations, because our professor is a principal cellist, and he was hoping to be very familiar with the Rococo variations, and it turns out they did play it, because a cello soloist was a guest star in one of the numbers. His name is Damodar das Castillo. I have no idea how to pronounce that name. Sorry for butchering it, because I tagged the Manila Symphony Orchestra in the previous post and then put in their story, so they see this. I'm in room for correction, but the way he portrayed the Rococo variations is splendid. I mean, I've listened to it a couple of times already, because Tchaikovsky is a proponent of neoclassicism, and I am also a proponent of neoclassicism, and reviving a Rococo theme in the Romantic era is very crucial in reviving the spirit of neoclassicism. And I gotta say, the cello soloist did an amazing job interpreting each and every single variation. I like his phrasing a lot. It was actually pretty good. He said he was returning from Vienna, which is very, very privileged city for musicians, so I gotta give him mad respect for that, and let those with classical training know that they can do it as well, because anything is really possible at this point. The Rococo variations are known for being one of Tchaikovsky's hardest pieces for cello. It is his only solo cello piece. I think he did. I don't know much of Tchaikovsky, but he probably did write a cello concerto. But it's his most famous piece for cello, the Rococo variations. Yeah, that's all I can say about part 1. But there was more. There was more, actually. It was not only Rococo variations he performed. He was gonna perform a piece of his own. It was an encore, and I forgot the piece's title because he wasn't plugged into a microphone. He was trying to say the piece, but I didn't remember. But I heard the name of the Hindu goddess Krishna, and I was hinting that, yeah, he was definitely singing an Indian hymn for cello, and he was also singing it. Like, you can do that with any stringed instrument, but in violin it's really hard, because chin rest, violin or viola, the chin rest is really hard to coordinate your chin. You can't open it because the violin is restricting this part. But in cello, you definitely can sing. I've seen a lot of cellists sing while they're playing their instrument. Shout out, Levi. Okay. So yeah, he did a really good job again on the Rococo variations. And yeah, so that was the end of part 1. Now let's move on to part 2 of the concert. Alright, part 2. Part 2 is a bit hard because it's the Sleeping Beauty suite, but it was a bit different. It was literally a bit different. This Sleeping Beauty suite had 7 to 8 movements. I know the original one has like 5. And hold on, let me just search on this real quick, because the Sleeping Beauty suite is 5 movements, but it has a different arrangement. The Manila Symphony plays a different arrangement of 7 movements. But the format is very different. So the original Sleeping Beauty suite has, let me just find it because it's in the Wikipedia, of course. The Sleeping Beauty suite has like 5. I'm just gonna put the form here because I can't really name them on the top of my head. But you can see a bit of a difference because the pieces that they played during the Sleeping Beauty are, or in real order. Let me just bring it up because, yeah, hold on. All right, I have the list pulled up. Hopefully this works out. So in the Sleeping Beauty suite, they performed the introduction, the Rose Adagio, the waltz, the panorama, the entr'acte, the finale, and the apotheose. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. But I don't think that's the arrangement, but they did play 7 to 8 movements. I can't remember on the top of my head because I really tried searching up the numbers of the real Sleeping Beauty, which lasts like, I don't know, it lasts like 3 hours long. It's the longest ballet in the entirety of classical music. But I gotta say, this arrangement was actually really good. I'm not gonna lie, because the original Sleeping Beauty suite has 18 minutes of music. And I think with 7 of these movements, it turned it into like almost 30, which is actually pretty amazing. It's a unique touch on condensing the Sleeping Beauty for the way it is. All right, so let's start with the introduction. Oh man, I've listened to the introduction so many times in recordings, and this is the first time I'm listening to it. I gotta say, it was intense. Like, it was really intense. I mean, they were full of energy going back there. My favorite part was looking at the timpanis. He was actually full of energy. I'm not gonna lie. And the way they they move to the like march-like section, it was very good. It was very good. It was very rhythmic, which made it a bit into my head. It's kind of like LSS, and then just kind of got into my head, and then there, it's a big impact on the introduction. It's really good. And then we head on to the second movement, which is the Rose Adagio. The Rose Adagio, man, I remember this being a part of the that again, I remember it's a part of the Your Lie in April series, when Josue and his student, I forgot the name. I've seen clips of it only, but the Rose Adagio has my second favorite movement. It's definitely my second favorite movement of the entirety of the Sleeping Beauty. I forget what the context is of the Rose Adagio. It's probably about the rose, because Sleeping Beauty is also based. I mean, it is an inspiration to the original Disney movie, which is Sleeping Beauty as well. And comparing those two, I didn't know, because the Rose Adagio is one of the most calmest movements that you can ever think of. It reminds me of the Nocturne by Chopin, almost. I mean, both Tchaikovsky and Chopin are Slavic, but they know, because Slavic music is like militaristic and very, very harsh, but then they know their way or two in calming things down. But Chopin's more on calming things down too, because he's more French. He he was he's basically more French, I gotta say. All right, the third waltz. This is another number that I know that was from Shigatsu or Yolai in April. Waltz is honestly amazing. And then, I was anticipating for the Glockenspiel. That was the most exciting part, and they pulled it off so well. It really captured the tingles of the ears of the audience. So the waltz is very, very famous. Nothing to explain about that, but they did a whole brand good interpretation of capturing the Sleeping Beauty waltz. Alright, now 4 and 5 have I think 4 and 5, Panorama and Entr'acte, they have both violin solos. I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah, Panorama and Entr'acte, they both have violin solos, and I remember the MC of the symphony orchestra. I remember that they credited the concertmaster for working so hard to practice the violin solos of this. I think what I could have suggested is that we could have played this violin solo. I don't know how it goes, but it basically goes. Yeah, basically. Okay, I'll just show you a clip of the violin solo that I wish that could be played. Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, what can I say? But overall, Panorama and Entr'acte really did awesome. They really did awesome on it, I gotta say. Okay, I think I missed a number. Because, again, I'm not good with memory. I could have written down on paper during the concert on what they played. I mean, I know there were 7 to 8 movements, but I just lost count. I'm sorry. I might have skipped. So the final 2 movements are the finale and the apotheos. I gotta say, it's a way to end the concert. It's a way to end the concert because not only the finale is well known, and it's the only thing in the Sleeping Beauty that's well known. I have never heard anyone play the apotheos during a concert in my life. So the finale is like this very, very good, very, very light. No, it's not very light. It's a very cheerful but triumphant finale of a gallop. It's a gallop because I think it's 2/4 time, and then so obviously one of the best interpretations, I gotta say, of a finale. I'm not gonna say that much. What the finale is a very, very good, amazing result from the orchestra. But then there's also the impactful apotheos. The apotheos, I gotta give a bit of an education on the apotheos because, right, Sleeping Beauty is based in the Kingdom of France. Basically, in the Kingdom of France during that time, I think it was set in the 1500s. The apotheos is based on the royal anthem of France, which is basically like this. So yeah, that's the national anthem of France. It's not like a national anthem. It's more like a It's like a royal anthem because France wasn't a nation state back then. But the royal anthem of France was referenced in Tchaikovsky's piece, and the apotheose basically depicts the grand entrance, or like the very appendix of the ballet, where I think his name was King Florestan enters, and it's basically fitting because the royal anthem of France is basically what you could think of, very much so. And I'm very happy that they did include this because aside from the waltz being the first favorite, of mine, the apotheose is definitely my second favorite because the majesticness. It's the most majestic movement. It's a solemn march that introduces all of the characters in their own respectful ways, and shows the classiness of the etiquette of ballet dancers. And I gotta say, it was really good. The only thing I would criticize here though is the use of an electric piano, because in the apotheose, it's scored for an orchestra, but then it adds an extra piano. When I first heard the apotheose, I was so confused. Like, who would use a piano? Who would use a piano in replacement of a harp? I mean, you can do it as a replacement of the harp because it plays like. Okay, I can't play the arpeggios that well, like the they're non-nuplets on the score, but they could have done the harp, but then Tchaikovsky chose it on the piano instead. And then when Manila Symphony Orchestra did it, they used an electric piano, which it wasn't I didn't really agree with it that much that they used an electric piano. I would have suggested an upright piano because the Aliw Theater is very small, so they could have used a upright piano for the setting, for the sake of bringing the piece to life. I mean, it's basically similar. It's basically really similar. Also, sorry for the notifications. I also opened Facebook on the laptop. But anyways, they could have used an upright piano. It doesn't make any difference if you use an upright piano in the apotheose. It's just accompaniment. It's basically just accompaniment in the original apotheose. So you're good to go if you use an upright piano. But instead they use they used an electric piano. But I do hope that that electric piano has very, very realistic sound effects. And that concludes our review of the Dancing with Tchaikovsky concert by the Manila Symphony Orchestra. I hope you enjoyed this very, very short review, because I apologize for my last review being 1 hour because it had footage and then this one doesn't. So I can't really do anything to make it I really can't do anything to make it longer because I really need shorter reviews. But anyways, that's it. And I would also like to, before I end the video, I would also like to thank my friends from the conservatory who attended the concert with me. We had a really, really fun time, and we also met our professor who was also in the orchestra, so congratulations to him. So thanks for watching, guys, and have a good day.